Joining us this morning, Titania Jordan.
Tatiana Jordan. Did I get the name right? Jordan?
Titania.
Titania. Okay. All right.
It's Titania Jordan.
All right, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm super excited because Beth Miller is here today. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you.
You are the Talent Management Advisor and Executive Coach, and I say the because it is your company, of Executive Velocity.
Yes, that's correct.
Such a cool name.
Executive Velocity?
Yes. Well, and yours, but
Oh, well.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, Executive Velocity, that really embodies the life of an executive. It's all about velocity.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
so, super cool title, very powerful, but what does it really mean?
So what it means is really about getting the most out of your talent and attracting the right talent. So it's attracting and retaining talent, and it gets much deeper into that, obviously,
Yes.
right? So, you know, are the managers doing what they need to do to retain? Are you rewarding and recognizing? But it's also strategic. So it's not so much just the tactics, but it's partnering with the executive team to get them to understand, okay, if you want to get from 10 million to 20 million, what kind of talent do you need? What does the organization need to look like?
Yeah. And
then be proactive in building the organization.
absolutely, you definitely laid it out just there. That's great. I'm going to sign up. Like, where do I sign? But no, it's so true. The people who make up your organization really do impact the bottom line.
Entirely, yeah. And most of my work is with kind of those knowledge workers, right? Those are the individuals that in today's world make up a vast majority of the professional world. You know, our industry has changed and shifted, and many of the organizations that I work with, they rely on the people and what's in their head.
Yes, very much so. You are not new to this.
No.
You've actually been doing Executive Velocity for over a decade.
Yes.
And before that, tell us what you were doing.
Well, my husband and I actually ran a technology consulting firm for about 10 years.
Wow.
And sold it. I got
Congrats.
oh, thank you. I got really bored though. I was too young to retire, and I'm kind of one of those people that I can't even fathom really retiring.
Yeah.
To me, I'm retired now. I work with the people that I love to work with, and it's not work. It's a joy and a pleasure to really see people develop and help nurture organizations.
What a great place to be in life.
Yeah,
like
it
goals
is.
right here. That's wonderful. Talk about your relationship with Vistage, and if people don't know what Vistage is, what is it?
Yeah, so Vistage is a international CEO organization. It's been around for, gosh, 60 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, it went through a rebranding about 10 years ago, and used to be called the Executive Committee. But Vistage brings CEO business owners together on a monthly basis. It's like an advisory board. There are no competitors in the room, so it's a really safe place to bring significant issues and get feedback from your peers. The other part of the program is coaching. So each member I will meet with every month and coach them. Oftentimes it's accountability coaching because they generally aren't reporting to somebody. There are other times when they're struggling with a specific issue, and we will discuss and then prepare them to bring it to the group that next month. Yeah.
That's so needed.
Yeah.
I mean, the world of a CEO can be very lonely and stressful and isolating at times, and the fact that there's that support group out there to uplift one another is great. Yeah. And you're certified in assessments.
I'm certified in a number of assessments, also certified as a coach. So the assessments I bring in a number of ways. One is during the development process of an individual or a group of individuals so that we get a kind of a baseline. So we'll generally do a 360 assessment so that they are assessed by their peers as well as those individuals that report to them and the individuals that they would report to. It's real specific to the competencies that are necessary within that organization.
Yes.
So it's a custom. There are a lot of 360s that are kind of off the shelf. I'm one of those folks that believes that it needs to be custom to the environment, culture,
absolutely,
organization.
Yeah.
And then I will do some behavioral assessments as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And let's get more specific in terms of those assessments. You know, if I run an organization or a company that isn't currently utilizing this offering,
right,
what can it do for my company and my employees?
So there's kind of two parts. There's the assessing a potential employee,
mm-hmm.
and you've got to be really careful about the assessments that you bring in because some of them are not validated for hiring, and you can get into trouble.
Yeah.
But there are some great ones out there that will do both the hiring as well as the development.
Love it.
So the one that I've chosen to use most often, there's actually two of them. One's Hogan, which is specifically for leaders, and then there's another one called Business DNA, which is validated for hiring as well as development. And it gives language around when you're communicating with people.
I will tell you that communication is so important, and you don't need to hear that, but everybody watching, it's fascinating how many issues can arise in a workplace environment that could have been dealt so much better with had they been done in a different communication style.
Yes, and understanding who desires what kind of communications is really important. There are some people that are very frank and blunt, and that's what they want.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are other people that want a little sugarcoating, but it's important to make things clear to them.
Right.
Right. So there's the emotional intelligence that needs to come in to communications to understand, how somebody's reacting. Do you need to pull back? Are they really understanding what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. The science alone around this is fascinating, and then the implications it has, again, for business and profitability and morale.
Yes.
Are paramount.
Yeah, I find that communications that is the foundation to leadership.
Yes.
If you don't have good communications, then you're not going to be able to motivate, inspire, recognize, and also provide negative feedback when it's needed.
Yes.
In a way that people hear.
Right. Constructive criticism versus just being a jerk.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
And I'll tell you, there's been some very well-known leaders that were like that. Steve Jobs. Great example, right?
Right.
I mean, he was very successful despite the fact he had no emotional intelligence.
I actually just watched the movie about him where Ashton Kutcher played him.
Yes.
And I don't know how much of it was accurate. I need to read the book as well, but it's fascinating.
Yes, it is, yeah.
But thankfully, there are people like you in the world that he could have called to help him.
I don't think he would ever have called an executive coach, to be honest.
I don't think he would either.
No.
But
he didn't. I don't think he felt it necessary to change. Right? He was so successful.
I mean,
it worked for him.
Good for him.
Right.
Good for him.
Exactly.
May he rest in peace, and we wish his family all the best.
Yeah.
I want to talk now about middle managers. We've talked a lot about CEOs and the executive team.
Yes.
But there's a whole nother tier of people that don't really ever get adequate training.
Yeah, and that's generally where I find myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes I'll start with the executive team, oftentimes the CEO, CFO, but most of my time is spent in that middle manager world. People leave managers, not companies.
Wow, that is so true. That is so true.
Yeah, and it's, I see it time and time again where individuals who are very good technically, for instance, accountants. They know their stuff, whether it be a auditing or tax. Then they're elevated to this management position. And because they are so good at what they do, they often have times where they're struggling to delegate because nobody can do it better than me. And they don't have that kind of emotional intelligence oftentimes. Now, the good thing about emotional intelligence, unlike personality, it can be changed.
That is
huge. You can learn it, yeah, you can adjust. And much of my work is, I don't talk about emotional intelligence that much when I work, but that's really what I'm working on. Yeah.
What are some of the components of emotional intelligence?
So it's understanding yourself, your emotions,
self-awareness,
right? Self-awareness, understanding how your reactions impact others, and then vice versa. Okay, can you read an individual, their face, what are they feeling, and are you able to adjust?
It sounds so simple.
It does, but when
it's
you're
not.
No, when you're in the heat of the moment and you are revved up and upset about something, can you really focus on somebody else? It's difficult, right?
It is.
Right? It's you react, and people that have a faster pace have more of a challenge, slowing down and kind of stepping back and saying, "Oh, what's right?" Exactly.
Screw my head on a little,
right?
Tighter, and keep my wits about me.
Right.
And just be aware. Be aware.
Be aware. One of the things that I often look for when I'm working with coachees is, are they self-aware, and are they willing to work at change? And I can figure that out probably in the first 30 minutes of a conversation.
Totally.
Yeah. And if they're not, that's when I have a conversation with the executive sponsor. I'm like, listen, I can work with this person, but you're not going to see a lot of change. You probably need to be investing in somebody else.
Right. Just bottom line.
Right, exactly.
How do people learn more about executive velocity and engage with you to utilize what you're offering?
Oh gosh, oftentimes people are referred to me because I've done some work for somebody else. I do have a website, but it's dated.
It's fine.
Yep.
Does it have your contact information on it?
Yes, it does.
Then that's what we will put up, because
Okay.
people are going to want to watch this and contact you.
I know.
Because
I keep saying I'm going to change it, but anyways.
It's fine. You're busy doing other things, right? You're not a web designer, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not either, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yes. Focus on your strengths. That's what I always say when I'm working with folks is focus on your strengths. Your strengths, though, overused, can become a derailer. So that's one of the things that the Hogan assessment will bring out, are those overused strengths that can really cause problems.
Can you give us an example of one?
Yeah, so somebody that is goal-oriented, okay, highly goal-oriented, they can run over other people, right? They're not aware of the people, they're specifically aware of the results. And they're focused on the results, and it doesn't matter what happens around them. Yeah.
That's so poignant. I have done a Colby assessment, and I'm a very high quick start.
Yeah.
And to that point, I've realized when I just want to start things, but then I might leave a trail in my wake for somebody else who is a fact finder to pick up.
Right.
So I've got to be very aware of how my impulsivity can affect people who crave organization and order and planning. Lots of planning.
Yeah, it's, I'm a quick start too, but I do have the break where I realize, and I'm like, whoa, hold on. Yeah. And over, with age comes wisdom,
Yes.
and I'm less likely to say yes to something
Yeah.
versus maybe let me get back to you.
Absolutely. I've read a quote from someone recently. They put on their LinkedIn about you really only start to become a professional between ages 30 and 40. And I was really relieved to hear that because I kick myself a lot for not being more self-aware and ambitious and assertive in my 20s. I was still a baby. I was learning.
But we all are.
I know, but you just
Right? I mean,
you think you wish you could go back in time.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in that 30 to 40 bracket, and I'm like, woo, it's go time.
Right.
It's so go time.
Yes.
Time is short. It's fleeting. You never know
Right.
when you won't be
Exactly.
here. So to be able to maximize the time you have here, utilizing wonderful offerings like that, which you bring, is key.
You know, you bring up a good point because some of the Vistage members that I work with are, you know, in their late 50s, early 60s, and a lot of our discussion is not so much about business, but it's legacy.
Wow.
I'm coming to my kind of professional career end, but I want to leave a legacy. And you know, how do I go about doing that? And what does it look like?
Absolutely. I probably think about this maybe too much, but every day I'm very aware of the fact that I only have so much time here, and what am I going to be able to do while I'm here that will impact the most people for good?
And I think your generation thinks about that more earlier.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully, yes. Yeah, you know, it's much more about purpose and meaning than dollars and cents. I have a niece who just graduated from college and is a grade school teacher. And she got a job, and she was very excited because it was like 10% more than most of the counties in her area. And when she started, she realized why she was getting that extra 10%, and that was they didn't pay for like the teacher's aides and the crosswalk people. She was having to do that.
What?
Right, exactly. So guess what? She chose to go to another county where they had those resources and take less money because she's like, that's not what I want to do.
No.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it kills me when I hear about teachers having to dig into their own pocket just for school supplies.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, that's another show,
Yes.
another story. Beth, as we conclude, I just always love to throw out to guests, you know, what can we do as an online community watching to help you, to pour into you, or to pour into things that you care about?
I think from a caring perspective, just be aware of when you are getting ready to promote an individual contributor who is great at what they do, that they really understand what management is about. That it's really not about them. It's about the people that they're going to be leading, and that the skills that they have today are only going to help them in maybe a 25%, and that the other 75% is going to be about those people that are reporting to them. It's going to be about coaching them, developing them, giving them constructive feedback, and those are the things. Oh, hiring, interviewing, finding great people. Nobody is trained on interviewing. It really, it's true.
And it's a huge problem.
Yes. Yeah, I was called in by one client last year who actually has a consulting practice in human resources, but they were all out doing work for clients, and so they wanted me to do training on hiring and interviewing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, and that should be, as a
intern
company,
posts.
your
Yeah.
first line of defense
I know.
to preserve your culture and
Exactly.
enhance the
Exactly.
culture.
Yeah.
So much to learn. Do you write any blogs or thought leadership pieces, perhaps?
You know, I have on occasion with entrepreneur.com. I've kind of put that on hold. I've just gotten so busy Right,
Totally.
and I do have a blog on my website, but again, it's, you know, most of it is not time sensitive, so, you know,
It's ideals
right.
that persist throughout.
Right, exactly.
And so the website is?
www.executive-velocity.com.
Don't forget the dash.
Right, exactly.
And we
I don't
will-
know where the other one will take you.
Yeah, don't go there. We will put that link in the description below so you can click, learn more about Beth, what she's doing at Executive Velocity, read her thought leadership pieces. You are a very humble human, written for entrepreneur. Like, that's a big deal. I would be like, ooh, no. No, I'm kidding. But seriously though, you have a lot to offer everybody who's watching, and I would encourage you all to follow Beth and read about her amazing thought leadership pieces. So
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Beth, thank you so much for being here. And as we conclude, is there anything else you want to kind of drop out there in conclusion?
Just don't forget to work with your future leaders and prepare them, because otherwise you don't have a succession plan.
That is spot on. Beth, thank you so much. It's been an honor.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.